What's up, guys? M. Jones back in the house again on my April 2nd update for movies that have not reached Blu-ray yet that I hope that would, and also shows that haven't reached Blu-ray, and also go over another rare one I haven't seen in a long time. It's hard to find, and let's get started. First movie I want to talk about that I would love to see go Blu-ray, early 90s, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Rick Moranis, always loved him. It was a movie that I remember I was so excited for because I thought it was so crazy they could have cameras that close to the ground. I was so young I didn't realize it was fake. I thought it was so cool how they shrunk the apple and then they shrunk themselves. And I always remembered I was so freaked out by the Cheerios scene when I think Rick Moranis was eating the Cheerios and the kids were yelling from the milk, and that Cheerio was so huge on them. I remember just thinking, oh my gosh. I remember I was like, I want Cheerios every day for breakfast because I thought that was such a cool scene. And, Rick Moranis discovers them when he's eating the Cheerios. But would just love to see that in HD quality just because there was so many cool parts in it, and just I really feel like everything that happened in that movie would look exceptional in Blu-ray format. So I'd love to see that. Next movie I'd love to see, one of John Candy's last movies, 1993, Cool Runnings, with John Candy, Dougie Doug, and I would just love to see that movie hit Blu-ray. A lot of funny parts in that movie. I think it was the first time I learned anything about bobsledding. I was really young. I was probably 8 when I came out. I always thought Dougie Doug was so funny with the egg, and he always said he just made jokes throughout the whole movie. I thought was so funny, and would really love to see that go Blu-ray because it's just a definite collector's item. Because any person my generation loves that movie. I don't know one person my age range that dislikes that movie. So would love to see that go Blu-ray as a collector's item, and just a great movie to view. The next movie I definitely would love to see go Blu-ray brings me back to my childhood again. Little Rascals. It was the movie with like Reba McEntire was a cameo, and it was just so many funny parts in that movie with all the Rascals. I remember Butch and Wayne were the bad guys, and I thought they were so funny. I always loved their line, hey baby, you got a burger to go with that shake. It was actually just Alfalfa dressed as a girl for that ballerina recital. I thought that was hysterical when I was a kid, and I love that kid. I love that kid as Alfalfa. I think his name was Bug Hall. He's also in another movie I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. And I always thought he was actually really good in that movie as a kid. And I loved Stymie, and I loved was Spanky. I thought he was funny. I thought that his parents looked like him, sorta, and Alfalfa's parents looked like him. When they both go to the door to see each other. I really thought it was funny how they showed a before and after picture of a young Darla and a young Alfalfa, and what they both look like today, and they pretty much look the exact same. It's funny how they haven't really changed. Like I would have picked them out as, were you Darla back in the day? And he's like, yeah, I am Darla. So I would have figured that out. I thought that was pretty cool how they still looked pretty much the same, and they're in their 20s now. But great movie. Would love to see it. Love the very ending of the race. When Butch and Wayne had that cheating car. They stole the car, the Blur, I think it was called. And that kid that liked Darla, that was kind of a tool bag. I think he was Derek in Full House. And he was just such a tool in that movie, Little Rascals. And I feel like he probably is still. I don't know. It's something about him. I just feel like he wasn't acting much. I don't know. The next movie I'd love to see go Blu-ray is Man of the House. Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement. And also Huck and Finn. I love that movie with Farrah Fawcett and Chevy Chase. That movie reminds me of my dad and I. More or less like how we grew up, just bonding slow and finding our niche with stuff, and just I thought it was so cool how they both kind of slowly became friends, and and they went camping, and I just love that he was squatting dog, and he's like, squatting dog. He's like, well, I had a so and so named Numbnuts. He's like, squatting dog will work. I always thought that was funny. It's more of an adult themed thing for a kid movie, but loved that movie. George Wendt was in it. He was great in that, and I love that they did the rain dance and stuff like that, and. And he'd been, I think it was Norman was the kid's name, I think, that Jonathan Taylor Thomas helped with the bullies, help from the bullies. It was a good movie. And, Farrah Fawcett, she looked great for her age. Unfortunately, she passed on, but I love that movie. Would love to see it go Blu-ray. And it's not a movie you ever see really like on HBO's or the Encores or Cinemax, Showtime, Stars. You don't really see it on demand that much. So I'd like to see it just to watch it again. The next movie I'd love to see is Dennis the Menace. Christopher Lloyd, Mason Gamble, Walter Matthau. That movie was so good. I remember that came out I think 94 or late 93. I think 94. Really love that movie. Just Christopher Lloyd as Switchblade Sam. I thought he stole the show. I mean, Dennis was funny as a kid, but he was obviously playing an annoying part, but I never got tired of Christopher Lloyd's scenes. I thought he was really good as a greasy, nasty, bold bad guy. And Walter Matthau was just excellent as George Wilson. He really was a good curmudgeon and just could not stand Dennis, but he really did like him. If you think about it, he really did like him, but he would just get so annoyed with him. And Leah Thompson I thought she was really good as Dennis's mom. I really liked her role. And Dennis's dad, I have no idea who that was, but he looked like the actual cartoon character from way back in the day, in the late 80s, early 90s. I thought he looked just like him. That freaked me out. But I don't know who he was. But the whole movie's excellent. I love the part. My buddy Craig and I, we love the part where Switchblade Sam catches on fire when he's passed out under the bridge, and he just looks at it. He's just like he was so freaked out. I just love that part. That part always cracks me up when he realizes he's caught on fire. But that movie would be excellent, absolutely excellent on Blu-ray. Just because it's just a classic. I think every kid in the '90s watched and loved. Next movie I would love to see go Blu-ray is First Kid, and that was with the boy that played a young Gordon Bombay in The Mighty Ducks. And I cannot remember his name, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name. I remember Sinbad was in it. I really liked Sinbad in that movie, and the late Sonny Bono was in that for a quick cameo, and it was just such a funny movie about the president's son not being able to have a normal life with dating and friends and hobbies and going out and a little bit of partying, legal partying for that age, and. I just remember thinking it was such a great movie, and I think the kid's first name was Brock, if I have that right. I forget, but I remember Brad from Home Improvement was in that, and I think it was Zachary Thomas was his real name. I forget, and he was a real jerk, and I was all pumped up what happened to him at the end, which I'm not going to ruin if you haven't seen. And I just remember seeing it with my mom in the theaters, 1996, I believe, and I just thought it was such a great movie. And Sinbad's hysterical. He was actually really funny in that movie, and just really liked it. And I would love to see that go Blu-ray. The next movie I'd like to see, back-to-back movies that are baseball related. Rookie of the Year and Little Big League. Rookie of the Year is with Thomas Ian Nichols from American Pie, and Gary Busey as the Rocket, and I think Jake Stedman was his name or something like that. Something Stedman, Chet Stedman, and that movie's so funny. Another later movie John Candy had in his life before he passed away. That movie was really funny, and I just remember thinking, if I just do some kind of problem with my tendon in my shoulder or elbow, I could just throw like 102 miles an hour, like Henry Rowan-Gardner was throwing. Absolutely love Daniel Stern in that movie. I thought he absolutely made that movie. So funny because he was just, I think he was Brigma, and he talked about hot ice, and he got locked in the doors in between the hotel rooms, and he got locked in the cage, and he grabbed his nuts whenever he was given a sign, and he was pretending like he was swatting at bugs when that was actually like an actual play he had intended. Like that was genius. Daniel Stern's one of the most underrated comedic actors there are. He was so funny. And I just would love to see that go Blu-ray. And A Little Big League, I think his name was Luke Edwards. I forget. Yeah, I've never seen that kid ever again. But, you know, I really love that movie. I think it was Timothy Busfield, who was also in First Kid. He was really good in that movie, too. And it was hard to believe he was a baseball player. You know, he kind of reminded me of like a Paul Molitor type player. Just quiet, humble, could hit pretty well, real well. But I didn't think he fit well in A Little Big League. I thought that was just didn't work for me. But I love that Randy Johnson was in it with the Mariners at the time, and Ken Griffey Jr. And I've always liked how sports athletes get into movies, because they're never great actors, for one, and two, it's like it's weird because like I see them on TV and now they're in an actual movie. Like I just, you know, and obviously celebrities are always on TV, but it's just neat to see how a sports athlete is not scripted really in sports, but then when they're in a movie, like they have to do whatever their script that tells. So I just think that's kind of cool how that transfers. Let me know what you think about that too, because I always like to know if movie viewers like to see the athletes of the world get into movies, because I think that's pretty cool. So I love that part, and I loved his Luke Edwards role right when he got the twins from his grandfather. His buddy says, "Man, when my grandfather died, all I got was a sweater." Like I just thought that was really funny as a kid, and you know, would love to see that go Blu-ray, because you know I haven't seen it forever either. I have the DVD, but I have to probably search for it. I have no idea where it's at. I have two more to talk about. Would love to see the movie The Big Green go on Blu-ray, and that was with Patrick Renna, who played Ham in The Sandlot. You know, I always thought he was hysterical as an actor and a kid. Just a strange-looking kid, first off, but always liked him. You know, always thought he was really cool. Obviously, Steve Guttenberg was in that, and Olivia Diabou from The Wonder Years was in